Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Baltmatrix here, and today we are taking a look at Transformers Cyberverse Energon Attack Optimus Prime. This is the equivalent of the Warrior class figure for the Transformers Cyberverse line. Now, we're going to take a quick look at the new packaging because it is very new. It is bright, it is yellow, it is very Bumblebee. I actually like it a lot. There's not a lot of wasted space. What I mean by that is, look, there's not a lot of extra packaging here, which is good. I appreciate that. The back shows some more figures in this size class. The figure itself, his function is Noble Leader. He has an Energon Axe Attack gimmick, which we'll take a look at, and it has multiple languages on the box, or packaging. So, let's go ahead, open them up, and take a look! The first thing I want to show off are the directions, and these new directions work better. They have a bright yellow background with blue, and they're just so much easier to read. Bravo, Hasbro. Way to get rid of the gray background. I really appreciate the fact that you're not using gray backgrounds with grayscale anymore. Thank you. Out of the packaging, Prime looks fine-ish. It's definitely Prime. There's no mistake about that, though the figure is incredibly light for its height. More on that later. Head sculpt is quite good, if not lacking in a little bit of detail, but I think that has to do with the transformation. The figure does not really have any real hands. Its first hand, or I should say its right hand, is covered by the front of the vehicle mode, though Hasbro did paint the hand, so I do appreciate that. The gimmick itself is bad. It's supposed to work by moving the arm back and up, and then flipping it down. But when you flip it down, or when you push on this panel in the back, which is supposed to be folded up, it's supposed to hit this little gray trigger that's right there inside the elbow to flip out the axe. Though, lining it up is difficult, if not impossible. So you end up just saying screw it, flipping that piece up, and flipping out the axe anyway, like that. And then you could do the gimmick. And the gimmick is bad. The entire figure is compromised, especially on the left side, due to this gimmick. Slash, slash, slash. Whoop-de-doo. I'm sure a kid will like it, but the plastic that the axe is on is very thin. This little slashing gimmick is also... It feels precarious. It does. It feels cheap. In fact, the entire figure feels incredibly cheap. The legs are completely hollow. The thighs are completely hollow. Turning the figure around, it feels like a decent quality knockoff. It's odd. Also, the ball joints. They're not noodles loose, but they are loose and could use a little bit of tinkering with. Now, I was certain that these figures were going to be smaller or shorter than current deluxe class figures. That's not the case, though they are significantly lighter. Quake here feels much more hefty and much more solid than Prime, which is weird. This Prime figure feels... Well, let's put it this way. I think that the Walgreens only Transformers feel more solid than this Prime figure. That Jetfire feels 10 times more well put together than this Prime. Now, Prime's transformation is, well, it's pretty easy, but a little strange. So, fold up the head, come to the back, and flip up this backpack until it snaps into place. Take the arms and fold them at the elbows, or at least for the left arm, just put it forward. Come down to the hips and rotate the hips 180 degrees. Take the shoulders, fold them in, and then push them back, and then slide everything into place. And this actually requires a bit of force, especially if you don't lift up a little bit on the forearm. So it's weird. If you don't do things at just the right angle on this, you end up needing a lot more force to push pieces into place than you might think you do, which is just weird considering the plastic. Now, this is where the transformation is interesting. Put the feet together, and then bend the knees forward. And you see there is this groove in the upper thigh. That will line up perfectly with the axe. And then slip the kneecap over top like that. And then just slide the other leg up, and peg it back into place. And that's it. That is the vehicle mode. That's Prime's vehicle mode. Oh, you can fold this backpack part down like that. Yeah, it's alright. Looks a little weird. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more, I don't know, joints in the toes. It looks like he's got an air conditioner sticking off the back of his feet, or the bottom of the feet. I don't know. It's okay. Feels really tiny, though. Like, really small. This figure is very strange. It's not bad, but it doesn't feel put together very well, and feels cheap. It really feels cheap. I'm going to be very curious to see how the rest of this line goes. Now, at the time of this review, the only other figure I have is Shockwave, and I actually haven't opened him yet. So I'm hoping that Shockwave feels better and is cooler than this. Prime isn't awful. I mean, he even has his own ab crunch for posability. But the figure feels... This figure feels like it was assembled and sold at a cheap knockoff store, or as an official figure, though the plastic is worse. In terms of posability, you can't move the head. The arms have forward and back movement. They do not have in and out movement. One elbow bends. They have kind of swivel towards the gut movement. No side to side. Ball joint in the legs. And a hinge joint in the knee. That's it. Posability, or getting him in any decent poses, kind of non-existent. Again, this figure is $20. Doesn't feel like $20 worth of figure. It really doesn't. I don't know, guys. I'm not sure if Cyberverse is going to be any good. Even the worst RID Deluxes were okay. This is just kind of sad. We'll have to see how the line goes. Honestly, I wouldn't pick Prime up right now. If he goes on sale for a couple of bucks, then pick him up, but I wouldn't right now. This is not a good figure, especially if you're a collector. If you've got a kid in your life and they're into Transformers, this should be fine. But if you're an adult collector, I'd pass. So gang, let me know what you think of the figure down in the comments. You know the drill. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, and as always, I'm Baltmatrix, and I'm worried.